everyone. Thanks for listening. This video is going to be going over Kim Il-sung's last instructions and how it relates to totalitarianism. I got this information going to Google and then typing in how Kim Il-sung's last instructions relate to totalitarianism. So that's how I got that information. And I read the off AI mode. Sometimes there can be mistakes. I hope those are minimal here, but it looks pretty good what I read, and yeah, just to keep that in mind. But all right, the next video you're gonna see Kim Il-sung's last instructions, and then you're gonna at the last video is the response. So thank you, everyone.
The president had repeated discussions with the officials about the country's economic work and the people's living, and gave them important instructions to provide the Korean people with happiness. On unforgettable July the 5th and the 6th, 1994, the president convened a consultative meeting of the senior officials of the economic sector. Saying that we are building socialism stoutly in spite of the imperialists' atrocious maneuvers to isolate and stifle us, the president set the tasks that will serve as guideline to the development of the national economy.
정부들이 당의 결정이 아닌가? 농사 대일주의, 경공업 대일주의, 무역 대일주의, 세 가지 대일주의인데 화학 비료를 남화학하고 흔화화학을 생산 정상화하도록 만들어. 비료만 생산 정상화하라. 금년에 비난론 계획된 대로 하고 명년은 5만 톤 만부할 거려야 돼. 그 다음에 시멘트를 우리가 정상화해야 돼. 시멘트가 1200만 톤이란 말이야. 시멘트를. 나 시멘트를 만부화 역시 걸려는 거라. 배무일 많이 해야 돼, 배무일. 배무일 내가 그전에 말한 것은 백척음행길라. 그 다음에는 전기를 앞서야 돼. 내가 내 마당 말하지만 전력, 철도, 이거는 어떤관이 인민경제의 선행관이라고. 금속 문제를 마저 해결해야 되겠어. 금속을 지금 어떤간에 우리가 구체적 대책을 세워야 된다. 이 전기하고 금속만 풀면 우리나라에서는 잘 살 수 있다, 우리가. 내가 이번에 카터하고 회담할 때 유엔에서 뭐 제재하겠다 하겠다 하는데 하려면 해라. 이때까지 우리는 제재 받고 살았지 제재 안 받고 산 적이 없다. 다 제재한다, 우리를. 일본 놈도 제재하지, 당연히 다 제재하지. 우리 제재 받고 살았다. 제재 받고도 이만큼 살아나가는데 제재하려면 더 해라. 우리 못 살 거 뭐인가? 그랬더니 제재 취소하겠다. 그래. 취소해도 좋고 안 해도 좋고 나도 마찬가지다. 못 사는 거 봐라. 우리 더 잘 살다.
The very important instructions given by the president at that time became his last precious instructions, which the Korean people must bear in mind and carry out. Who could ever think that the instructions would be the last instructions given to the Korean people by the president, who had dedicated all his life to the good of the people? President Kim Il-sung thus worked hard for the prosperity of the country and the bright future of mankind till the moment his heart ceased beating. The president's career was indeed a great career which dedicated its all to the happiness of the people. The Korean people are loyally supporting the leadership of Chairman Kim Jong-il to implement President Kim Il-sung's instructions. The great leader, Comrade Kim Il-sung, will always be with us. President Kim Il-sung's great career, which is immortal in the people's minds, will be long remembered.
Hello everyone, thanks for taking time to listen to this video. Alright, Kim Il-sung's last instructions, known as Yuhan, finalized North Korea's transition into a hereditary totalitarian dynasty, ensuring that his absolute authority would dictate the state long after his death in 1994. In totalitarian regimes, the leader's decrees are treated as infallible religious dogma. Kim Il-sung's final words serve as the legal and spiritual foundation for North Korea's complete state control. The core of the last instructions, Yuhan. The last instructions are a series of final policy mandates delivered by Kim Il-sung shortly before his death on July 8, 1994. Transformed into permanent state laws by his son, Kim Il-sung, or by his son Kim Jong-il, these instructions focused heavily on three areas. The monolithic ideological system. Codifying total unconditional loyalty to the Kim bloodline. The Pak II dynasty line across generations. Right, national reunification, outlining strict parameters for absorbing South Korea under North Korea's specific communist terms. Economic defense, demanding strict adherence to Juche, which is self-reliance, which historically prioritizes military funding over civilian consumption. Enforcement and the 10 principles. To institutionalize these instructions, the regime relies on the 10 principles, like the 10 commandments, for the establishment of a monolithic ideological system. These serve as the supreme legal framework of North Korea, effectively superseding the national constitution. Multiple directives. Explicitly target citizen behavior. Principle 4. Mandates that citizens make Kim Il-sung's revolutionary ideology their faith and his instructions their creed. Principle 5. Dictate a rule of absolute unconditional obedience and carrying out the leader's instructions. Totalitarian mechanisms of control. North Korea sustains this rigid system by enforcing complete domination over every facet of public and private life. This is achieved through highly structured mechanisms of totalitarian control. The Songbun system, a social caste network that classifies every citizen at birth as loyal, wavering, or hostile based on their family's historic allegiance to the regime. This classification dictates their access to food, housing, and jobs. Inminban, known as neighborhood units. There are mandatory surveillance groups consisting of 20 to 40 families. The state-appointed head monitors all domestic activities and reports suspicious behavior to state security. Information blockade. State-issued radios and televisions are physically modified and hardwired to receive only official government broadcasts. Possessing unauthorized foreign media can result in execution or imprisonment. The penal system. The Ministry of State Security operates a massive network of forced labor colonies known as Kwanli-so. Under the system of collective punishment, 3 generations of a dissident's family are often sent to prison camps without a trial. Through the political evaluation of these final instructions, the regime successfully replaced standard governance with a hereditary cult. This structure requires the entire population to act as unified instruments of the state's goal. Thanks for listening, everyone. I hope you found this video informative. I enjoyed reading it to you, and I hope you enjoyed listening. So take care, everyone.